All right, here's a preset. I want to talk you guys through the thinking behind it and have a look at some of the effect settings. So essentially what I've tried to do here is replicate one of those ginormo Bob Bradshaw 80s studio rack kind of things that anytime you open up a magazine from the 80s, you'd see, Steve Lukather or Dan Huff or Michael Thompson, Michael Landau, those kind of guys. They would have a bunch of different preamps and a bunch of different, Lexicon, Eventide, TC Electronics, all these kind of different brands, all in these ginormous refrigerator-sized racks. And the nice thing about the Axe effects is we've kind of got all of those effects sitting in a 3-rack unit. And if we route it all correctly and we use the right effect types, we can get pretty close to those kind of sounds without, having to spend like 30 grand on gear and break our backs carrying it around. So I'm going to show you the very basic clean sound that I've got going on and the amp and cab that I've used. So I'm going to turn all of this stuff off for now and then talk you guys through how I've done it. So let's start with the amp. The amp that I'm using is this USA Clean. So this is based on a Mesa Boogie, I believe, like a Mark Series Clean. I'm just going to turn the compressor off as well before we get into that. So, basically Mark Series Clean, which essentially is pretty Fendery, but you could think of something like the Mesa Studio preamp that a lot of these guys would be using. Another good clean amp model to try is the CA3 Plus, based on the CAE preamp. Again, they're all essentially Fender tones, but what you can do with the output EQ is kind of scoop the mids and boost the bass, which is nice, which I've done here. So here is the straight up amp and cab sound. I'm using this factory IR. It's this 4x12 Mesa mic'd with an SM57. I think it sounds pretty good. Neck pickup of a Strat. Well, I better turn the chorus off as well. And the reverb, which I thought I did, and I clearly didn't. You guys have been sitting here the whole time going, dude, you didn't turn it off. So here's just a straight up amp sound. It's just really clean. It's a scooped clean sound. So the key to this sort of 80s clean sound, one of the many keys, is to absolutely slam the front end with compression. So I'm using a studio compressor. As you can see, the threshold's at about -29, ratio's at 5, so I'm really slamming it. This is what that does to the raw amp sound. You can hear there's that sort of really nice kind of clicky thing going on in the neck pickup. And the thing I like about this is it really accentuates the different positions on a Strat. Like here's the bridge pickup. And that was bridge pickup through the 5 positions all the way back to the neck pickup. What I'm doing after that is adding this STD preamp. So the Roland SD 3000 or something, which a lot of studio guys use and people like the Edge use, they often use it just for the preamp section. This just adds a little bit of sparkle to the amp tone. Have a listen to this. So there we go, that's like a sparkle control, and it also bumps the level up a little bit. And together with the Memory Man delay, gives you a great sounding analog style delay in front of the amp if that's what you want for dotted delay stuff. So that is what that delay is doing for the straight up clean sound on scene 1. I've got that off, and then I'll add some hall reverb right at the end. Basically, hall reverb equals 80s clean guitar to me. And I don't like it drowning in reverb, but obviously if you want more of an authentic 80s thing, crank the level. So that is lush immediately, which is really cool. And then the big one is the tri-chorus. So using the stereo tri-chorus block in the Axe effects, I've got the depth all at about 65% and the rate at 1.5. This is kind of the secret sauce, especially if you're thinking like Michael Landau, Michael Thompson, those kind of guys. It's all tri-chorus. Which is pretty cool. You can lower the rate if you don't want such an extreme effect. That one sounds really nice. And then what I'm doing in each scene is I'm going to introduce some pitch detune on top of the chorus, again, super 80s, and then I'll bring in some 2290 delay. Again, these are all just sort of classic 80s effects. There's a scene with the crystal echoes in the pitch. Then I've got a panning delay, kind of like a Lexicon PCM 70 sort of thing. And then I've got this big plex delay. So let's just move through the scenes now that we kind of know the basics of what's going on, and we'll have a listen to how each one of them makes it even more 80s sounding. And you can hear that by scene 7, we've layered on, pitch crystals, a really, really big plex delay, multi-delay delay in front of the amp. So it's total overkill. I mean, most of the time I would probably just sit there on scene number 3 with the detune and a little bit of delay. And that's pretty happening for what I like for this kind of thing. And then once I'm bumping in like the plex delay and the multi-delay, that's more, if you want to do volume swells, I'm using the volume pod at the moment, but I have set this up with an auto-engage volume pedal here so that you can do these swells. And notice that they're after the cab block, which is going to be a little bit different to doing them before the cab block like I'm doing at the moment with my volume control. Again, just play like sus chords and 11 chords and you get that kind of vibe happening. And then scene 8 is pretty much the clean sound, but with the dimension chorus instead of the tri-chorus. And I've got a little bit of delay in there. So this is kind of like a bread and butter. If you're playing like 80s pop or you're doing, early 90s R&B stuff, even this would work with. So this is a really cool sound as well that I spend quite a bit of time jamming on. So there you go. It might sound like absolute tasteless overkill to some of you. It might sound like absolute sonic nirvana to some of you. If you like it, grab the preset. I'll put it up on Exchange and it should be linked in the video description. And yeah, grab it and let me know how it works with your rig and your guitar and whether you can make some cool music with it. Until next time, I'll see you guys around.